Almost looks like a rabbit. Bunny, bunny, hoo, hoo, hop through the forest. Is this thing on? Hey everybody, I'm Nick, and I'm going to make my Christmas dinner for you. So I'm going to be making a duck confit galantine, which basically means I'm going to remove all the bones from the bird, but leave it whole. And then I'm going to cure it for 2 days, and then I'm going to cook it in its own fat. In the end, there's a little bit of a twist, so I hope you stick around. I'll try not to get, blood all over my Christmas sweater. It's very important to dry your bird before you start to do anything with it. Well, first I'm going to take the wings off because these are going to be included. So the tough part about this is removing the actual meat from the carcass. So I'm going to split it down one part of the bird. You can kind of say undress the bird. You're going to pull up your Christmas sleeves. Alright, now here comes the fun part. Just using my fingers, I'm barely going to be using my knife. You can see the carcass is coming apart. I do want to separate the bone on the shoulder from the carcass. In fact, we got to pull the wishbone. So just a little bit where it's connected at the base. Hopefully it'll come out one piece. Oh, that's part of it. Alright, that's separated. So all I'm going to do is separate the bone, or what would be the drumette. There we go. There it is. Same thing on the other side, just right through the joint. There it is. Okay, so there's a little bit of tendon holding on to the back. There it goes. It's literally just pull and pull and pull, and then you get to a certain point, run the thighs. Okay, so now we're going to find the thigh bone, separate that guy, and continue. Same thing on the other side. Bone that connects the thigh. But it comes right off. I bet you've never seen this before. And there's the carcass. Okay. Lay out our duck. Runs my hands off real quick. Give him a little pat down. Next thing we're going to do is remove these bones. This is one of my favorite holiday dishes. It doesn't have to be duck, it could be goose, it could be chicken, it could be pheasant, turkey or tofurkey. Don't do that. We're going to do the same thing on all 4 of these appendages. Give it a little whack. You can probably just pop that off. Feel the bone in here. So you're going to use the back of your knife, just scrape. But for the most part, we're just using the back. Moving your drumette bones. Do not cut all the way through your skin because you just want to pull the bone from inside out. So there it is. There's the bone. Now this is the bulk of the work. There is a lot more time involved. This is the 3-day process. I'm just pulling it away from the bone. It's a little bit sharp, so I'm going to grab some tissue, which is making it a lot easier. Make sure there's no bone pieces in there. You're just using the tip of your blade to just pull that bone out and then scrape. Tendon's going to be the biggest part. So. There it is. The next part is going to be your thigh. So the thigh, you can use your fingers to follow the bones. As long as you expose it. Just like that. Okay, so get it underneath it. You can hear that scraping, can't you? There's the joint. Then again, we go under the bone. At this point, just using a little bit of cutting to remove the rest of the bone because there's so much tendon right around the joint. Be very careful. Hopefully your knife is sharp. There's one. And you can see, still looks like a little thing. Yeah. It'll look good. And the goal is to have one big piece of meat that you can roll a bunch of stuff in. Without that foot joint in the way, makes it a lot easier to pull the bone out. Now mind you, I've only done maybe 5 or 6 of these in my life, so please be a little bit forgiving in the comments. Okay, and that's it for the deboning. Next part. Now we're going to cure it. Now this is a basic cure. We're going to go with salt. And you don't want to do it too heavy, but just enough that way you can sit on it and cure it for the next 2 days. Lots of fresh cracked pepper. Now you can use whole peppercorns, but then you get spots of flavor instead of even distribution. If you were to brine this bird, whole peppercorns would be preferred, especially if you toast it first, which I always do. I like lots of fresh thyme. Some sort of herbaceous flavor to it. You can add whatever herbs you like, but this is my go-to. Use whatever is in season. Right now I have a couple of dead rosemary plants and a whole lot of mint that will never go away. I don't know how minted duck would taste, but you tell me. I'd love to hear about it. Last but not least, I'm just going to lay these out. Now this may seem like a lot of bay. Sit in the bay. A little tap. Get it in there. Give her a flip. Do the same thing to the other side. Now if you're wondering why there's a mountain of clean dishes in the background, it's because I made a mountain of cookies. Same thing. Lots of nice kosher salt. Lots of fresh cracked pepper. What's really important when you're curing your duck is that you either have some sort of air circulation underneath it, or you put a fresh towel under it because it's going to leach out a lot of moisture because you're basically drying this bird. I'm going to go with the towel. would highly recommend either replacing or putting a new baking soda in your fridge. You want to do skin up, because the drier the skin, the better. Do not cover it. You want it to evaporate. Alright, see you in the next step. Hey, we're gonna get ready to fill this duck up. She's been sitting in the fridge for about 2 days, close to 48 hours, actually almost exactly 48 hours. But before we do that, I want to work on the filling. So what we're going to do is take some of these chanterelles that I bought from the local grocery store, because who has time to go walking around in the woods? Actually, that sounds wonderful. I'm going to lose my mind. My wife is standing behind the camera snickering at me as I chop up these mushrooms. Make sure there's no bugs or pine needles. In fact, if you have one, get yourself a brush. Now, some chefs take the bottoms off. Not as texturally pleasing. We're just chopping it up into small enough pieces because we're going to stick it on the inside of the duck. Oh, see, I did it anyways. Just out of habit. Winner, winner, pine dinner. Now you may be wondering, why not just wash the mushrooms? They're just going to be soaking wet. Kind of looks like a flower, doesn't it? Tell me if I'm not funny, would you, dear? If you were wondering, yes, I'm wearing the same exact outfit I was wearing two days ago. Have I washed it? No. This is what quarantine does to you. Makes you not care about smelling bad until your wife starts to complain. It's currently 12:10 at night, and I need a beer. If you're wondering what that humming is in the background, that's the sound of me slowly dying. Next, we're going to take the rest of our poultry herbs, which contains thyme, sage, and rosemary. I don't like a ton of rosemary, so I'm just going to throw that over there. I also bought myself some tarragon. I'm going to save some of this for the very end. Now I'm just going to give this a rough chop to kind of break open some of the natural oils in these herbs. Since we already seasoned our duck, salt won't be necessary. I also have a handful of garlic cloves. Take your pointer finger and your thumb on both hands, grip it like so, squeeze as hard as you can, not as hard as you can, squeeze until you think it's not going to slip out of your fingers, and give it a little twist. Like so. I call it the wiggle. With this method, you could peel a whole quart of garlic in about 30 minutes if you're fast enough. If you break it, that's okay. We're just gonna smash the garlic anyways. In fact, if you want to, you can just give it a little tap. Remember, if you find a piece of garlic that has a green core in it, it's called the germ, remove it. It's pretty bitter. Remove the butts, which is just the root end of the garlic. Now comes the fun part. Just give it a good whack. We're not trying to obliterate it, we're just trying to open her up a little. Now I'm going to smell like garlic until New Year's. Whoopee! I'm going to peel the rinds off of these guys. Or off of this lemon. If there's any bit of white pith on there, give it a scrape. That causes bitterness. Let's take this black garlic. Yes, more garlic. But this is black garlic. It's not fermented. It is a slow caramelization over about a period of 40 to 60 days. Really deep, rich, sweet, tasty garlic. We're going to use a stand mixer. I'm mixing it with some unsalted butter so we can rub it all over the outside of the bird. If this seems like too much to you and you can't find black garlic, just rub butter on it anyways. Fat is flavor. This stuff should have the texture of roasted garlic. Spreadable on toast even if you want. Very pungent, almost deep and earthy like mushrooms. I've actually made this before. Now I'm really going to smell like garlic until New Year's. Well, if you don't like garlic, I don't know if we can be friends. I take off these bay leaves just because they've already infused their flavor into the bird. If you want to, you can leave a couple on the outside. Give it a quick rinse. The salt has already penetrated as much as it wants to, so dry it off again. Mushrooms. Got some Ziske, all your herbs and garlic and lemon. What we're gonna do is kind of roll it in on itself, trapping all those fillings. Tight as you can get it. Things are gonna stick out of the joint holes. Your leg hole, I guess. Unravel some twine, some butcher's twine. Kind of shimmy it under the first part where it kind of splays out a little bit where the thighs were. Give yourself a nice knot to start with. And you want to make this one your secure knot that doesn't move. So make sure it's tight. You shimmy it under. Pull it through. And make sure it's taut. Taut, as in tight. Now this is one way to do it. You could just do knot after knot after knot. And try not to cut through the skin of the duck. Now you could rank on it and it would tighten it, but you run the risk of breaking it when you pull that hard. So take your time. Be gentle. It'll pay off. To finish mixing my black garlic butter, you could totally use a extra large zip top bag, but with higher temperatures I like to go with sturdy plastic. You wanna coat this thing all the way, as much as you can. So this is duck fat, and I actually got this from roasting the carcass after I pulled all the meat off, and I saved the little bit of meat that was left on it and gave it to the dog. He loves roasted ducks. Smells great. Smells like roasted victory. We're gonna fold these up. Give it a seal. Check it out. Not perfectly packed, but there's enough fat in there and it'll cook it nice and evenly. We're gonna put this in there. Whew, it's hot. Now this is an 8-quart Cambro sitting on a double folded towel. These things can handle the heat. If you don't have a Cambro, you can totally use a large pot or a large basin that can fit your sous vide in. Now that our duck is in the sous vide, we're going to wait 16 hours, so I'll see you in the morning on Christmas Eve. Are we recording? Welcome back. It's should be 16 hours later. It's actually 17 hours later. Like a good boy always should, we're gonna make some vegetables to go with our duck. I've chosen to go with a celeriac root puree with celeriac. I'm gonna cut it up, add some cream, get it nice and hot, throw it in this little NutriBullet, and add some cold ass butter. So that is what we call blender emulsification. Get started. Take up the little green thing, save it for later, give it to your wife, maybe she can plant it. Make sure you have yourself a tasty beverage. I have a local hazy pale from Karen Brewing. Yeah, right over in Kenmore. Now what I'm gonna do because it's similar to what I would do if I was making old school mashed potatoes. I'm going to cut it into small enough pieces that when they cook really fast. We want to get these nice and soft. Merry Christmas, by the way. Nice heavy pinch and a half of salt. And by pinch, I mean 4-finger dip. Next up, because, you know, root vegetables, I have some parsnips and some big ass carrots. We're just going to give them a peel. Now you could totally just scrub your carrots and parsnips, and that'll be fine. I'm going with a, it's called a, as I turn the carrot, or whatever long root vegetable you have, every time I turn it, I cut into it at the same angle, and it gives me a semi-similar shape, but each individual piece is unique. That's about right. I'm gonna add a little bit of oil. This is Palmas olive oil, which is a higher temp olive oil, not an extra virgin. You can also use avocado oil. I don't usually recommend canola oil. Be sure to subscribe, like, hit that bell for notifications for more videos, and subscribe to my other channel, Nick and Lau Adventures. It's also her channel. I'll put the link in the description below. Just a light dousing of oil, some kosher salt, fresh cracked pepper, some fresh herbs, and then chop it up nice and small. Tarragon. I'm just gonna throw some pieces in here and mix it around every couple minutes. I've only had one, I swear. Get yourself a pair of tongs. Grab one of these guys. If you have a cake tester or a toothpick, check for tenderness. Ooh, these are nice. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna drain these off. Pop them in here really quick. You can use a strainer if you want to. I'm gonna use the edge. Use your tongs. Put that in your blender or NutriBullet or heck, you can even use a food processor. If you have a Vitamix, that's going to be the best. That creates a nice vortex. Get out any excess water. Put that right back on there. Pull out some cream. You don't need a lot. Say that's about a cup of cream. While that's warming up, we're gonna take care of a bird. Oh, baby. Do not, I repeat, do not throw away any of this fat. It is liquid gold. I like to strain anything that comes out of the bag if you want to keep all the stuff in there, make gravy, whatever, please. Looks nice and hot. Let me get this going before it gets too scorched. So you gotta be careful when you do this because it will explode. So in fact, I'm gonna let this wait a couple minutes. Just a little bit of salt. Oh my gosh, dude. That smells so good. Yeah. Gently let her out. Woo. The black garlic, give it a nice hue. We're gonna finish roasting up those vegetables, then we're gonna stick them in the oven. Stick this guy in the oven. First, we're gonna mix the celeriac and the cream. Just a little bit, just to kind of get it to come together. Let's hope this doesn't, ooh, it's already feeling like it's gonna explode. Where'd my beer go? So, what I'm gonna do actually is, I didn't think about this till just now, it's probably a really good idea. Add a little bit of duck fat into your celeriac puree. Gives it more of that ducky flavor. And all those flavors that you infuse into that duck by stuffing it on the inside. Careful now. If it's a little bit thick, you can add a little bit more cream. And I'm out of cream, but I have a little bit of milk. And it's gonna drop the temperature just a hair. Here comes the tray. In fact, it's probably fine without it, but a little bit of cold butter. Help the emulsification process. You're biting fat and fat, it's not that hard. That would be our vegetables. As you can see, they have a little bit of color, no burning. The herbs are not completely black. We're gonna take our oven from roast all the way up to a low broil so we can cook this guy. Should take about 7 to 10 minutes depending on your oven. This sauce, ooh, hello. Should be nice and smooth and velvety. You can cut right through it like butter. Okay, now we've pulled our duck out of the oven. It's perfectly crispy. I'm gonna give you a little shot of that. Ooh, let's see if it doesn't break. Let's see if you can hear that. Give your sauce a nice little mix of things even. Big dollop right in one corner. One little. Get these in manageable pieces. You see? Myself a nice pile of vegetables on the opposite side of my sauce. Kind of poker card them out a little bit like that. Some green onions for topping, some color. And there you have it. My duck galantine confit with roasted root vegetables and the celeriac puree. Thanks for watching, and again, please make sure to like and subscribe, hit that bell below for more future videos. If you like this video, check out my other video, Nick and Lau Adventures, where Lau, the lady behind the camera, is joined in. Thanks. Bye. And yes, it does, sparkle or twinkle. It's a lot of pulling and tugging. Make me a little warm over here. Maybe it's just that Christmas cheer. Almost looks like a rabbit. Bunny, bunny, hoo, hoo, hop through the forest. Like a wet soaking mattress.